It was one of those nights when the rain didn't stop. Heavy, relentless, pounding against the windows of the small diner where Abby worked. The wind howled outside, rattling the old signs hanging in the windows. The streets were deserted, the usual crowds nowhere to be found. It was just Abby, her boss, and a few lonely souls huddled in booths, nursing cups of coffee. "Guess it's just you and me tonight," her boss, Greg, said, wiping down the counter. "Hope you're ready for a quiet shift." Abby smiled weakly, trying to ignore the way the storm outside seemed to press in on her, filling the diner with an unsettling tension. The clock on the wall ticked slowly, the only sound beside the rain's furious drumming. She wiped down a table, glancing out the window. The lights flickered, casting long shadows across the diner. A gust of wind blew open the door with a sharp bang, making Abby jump. She turned to see a drenched man step inside, his clothes soaked through. He didn't look at her as he shuffled toward a booth in the corner, sitting with his back to the room. "Strange night for a late meal," Abby muttered under her breath, but her curiosity got the better of her and she approached his table. "Can I get you something?" she asked. The man didn't answer. He simply nodded, his face hidden in shadow beneath a wide-brimmed hat. Abby hesitated, but she figured she might as well take the order. "All right, I'll bring you a menu," she said. But before she could move, the man's hand shot out, gripping her wrist tightly. "Just bring me something hot," he rasped, his voice barely audible over the storm. Abby nodded nervously, pulling her wrist free, and hurried into the kitchen. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong about the man. His presence was unsettling, and the way he didn't speak, just nodded or gestured, left her with a sense of unease she couldn't explain. The night dragged on. The storm raged harder now, and Abby could hear the wind whistling through cracks in the diner's old windows. The man sat in the booth, not touching the food when she brought it out, just staring at the window, his back always turned to her. Then, just after midnight, the diner's door swung open again. This time, no one entered. The bell above the door jingled, but the rain kept falling outside, no footsteps to accompany the sound. Abby turned, a chill running down her spine, but no one was there. Frowning, she checked the door. It was closed, locked. The only sound now was the relentless rain against the windows. That's when the man spoke. His voice was low, rasping with a coldness that sent a shiver down her spine. "Do you believe in ghosts, girl?" he asked, his voice growing unnaturally deep. Abby turned toward him, but he was still facing away from her, his hat now tipped low. What do you mean?" she stammered, her pulse quickening. The man slowly turned his head toward her, and in the dim light, Abby's heart stopped. His eyes weren't eyes at all, just dark, hollow pits, empty and bottomless. The skin around them was pale and stretched, like it had been pulled too tight, and his lips peeled back into a sickening smile that was more gaping void than human expression. I'm just here for one thing," he whispered, his voice echoing unnaturally in her ears. "To finish what was started." Before Abby could react, the power went out. The diner plunged into darkness, leaving only the soft rumble of thunder and the pounding of the rain against the roof. Her heart raced as she fumbled for her phone, trying to turn on the flashlight, but it wouldn't work. In the brief flicker of lightning, she saw it, a shadow moving across the floor. A figure, tall and hunched, slithering closer to her. "Finish it," the voice rasped. The storm raged louder and the door slammed open again, letting in the wind, but the figure remained. The man. Only now he wasn't alone. In the darkness, Abby could make out more shapes, more figures, all appearing out of the corner of her eye. Figures with empty eyes, twisted faces, each one whispering in unison, "Finish it." Panic surged through her. The room felt suffocating, the walls closing in. She tried to scream, but the words got caught in her throat. Just then the lights flickered back on, and the diner was empty again. The door was shut tight. The man was gone. Only the empty booth remained, the remnants of food untouched. Abby stood there, gasping, the air heavy with something cold and unnatural. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a message from Greg, her boss. "Abby, I'm coming back to lock up. You okay in there?" Abby's hands shook as she typed back. "I think I'm done with tonight. Something's wrong. Something is still in here." The phone buzzed again. "Just lock the door. I'll be there soon." She glanced at the door one last time before the lights flickered again. And then, In the corner of the booth, she saw it. The man's empty eyes staring back at her.